and welcome back to the NoScore Review Show. I'm your host, Nick Green, and joining me once again is Michael Bentley. Welcome back, Michael.
Hi.
Today, we are reviewing Volume 2 of Star Wars Visions, the new animated anthology series on Disney+. We are going to do spoiler-free thoughts for the first little bit of this review. We'll make an explicit spoiler warning for actual plot details of each episode and whatnot before we get into it. But for now, we'll just go with our general thoughts of Volume 2 and our expectations going in. So, Michael, what are your thoughts on Volume 2?
I think it is overall better than Volume 1. With some key exceptions. I did miss, from Volume 1, there was the first opener, the one with the Wandering Samurai who collected the Sith crystals.
Mm-hmm.
And wrongly told the people of that village, oh, this is like a good luck charm. No.
It's like the opposite. It's a bad omen.
No, you're gonna hear a lot of whispering at night, which is not generally good luck.
Yeah.
That one was really good, and the one with the master and the apprentice going after the little feeble old man. Those two, I missed those two, or their equivalents of what would have been in this season. But I think overall, season 2 really improved on the concept of this animated anthology in that it went more Love, Death, and Robots direction, where it wasn't just what if Star Wars was an anime? It was what if a bunch of different forms of animation.
Yeah.
So no, I feel overall there's less of a concrete through line for Volume 2 in terms of conceptually, where season 1 seemed to be what if we gave this to a bunch of Japanese animation studios and told them, do what you want, then send it back over to us.
Yeah.
This felt like more any animation, any version of what you want to do.
Yeah.
Send it back to us. Obviously, it'd be a bit weird if you send this over to Genny Tartakovsky and he was like, what if we did clip art, or clip art animation?
At this point, though, I'll watch anything Tartakovsky, so go for it, honestly.
Have you seen the Unicorn Show yet?
No, actually, I have not. What Unicorn Show? What are you talking about? I haven't even heard of this.
It's the new Genny Tartakovsky show on Adult Swim.
The Unicorn Show. I know he did Primal. Is he doing another thing too?
Yeah, he's doing a new one. It's about it's in the space and it's in the future. In the space.
In the space. Have you heard of the space?
It's in space in the future, and it's it looks like a team of 4 people fighting crime, and it's a super long title, something unicorn.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I completely agree. I still really enjoyed Volume 1, but I am definitely not usually interested in anime. So definitely some of the episodes didn't grab me as much. I had a few standouts like you, but for example, Lop and Ocho, and the twins, when it got hardcore stylized anime, that's kind of where it lost me a little bit. I still definitely appreciated those episodes for what they were and how they were just such a they divorced themselves a lot from just within the confines of the usual Star Wars rules and lore and type stuff. They Disney and Lucasfilm seem to have gone completely hands off and be just do what you do best, but use Star Wars as your loose framework, which I really appreciated. But just in terms of personal preferences going into Volume 2, I was way more excited for because of that direction of going more aligned to Love, Death, and Robots, like you said.
For me, the twins, which was the got lightsabers cutting starships in half and all that. I was not surprised because Studio Trigger, that's their wheelhouse. Their wheelhouse. Generally, Studio Trigger will have you start off with more mundane story stuff and build to that, but they had 20 minutes.
Right.
but like I wasn't surprised when that came out.
Yeah.
I would honestly say, though, with everything taken into account, probably my favorite episode from season one was the Village Bride because
Right.
of
Yeah.
music by Kevin Penkin, who's
Hmm.
really big. He's an Australian composer who works in anime, and I
Oh
think
wow.
like yeah, I know that there was an episode this season, this volume,
Hmm.
the last one that also dealt with the music. But I feel like the Village Bride really took that to a different level. It was an incredibly beautiful score.
Are you
Um,
referring to Ao's song?
yeah, that would be the one from this season where it was a lot more music based, which
Yeah.
also still very beautiful. But
Yeah. I
um,
loved that
I
episode. That was great.
but like I like the Village Bride because of how quiet and like orchestral it was.
Hmm.
Which sounds like an oxymoron to be both quiet and orchestral. Like they made really good use of stuff. Like I liked how their singing like brought like parts of the land back to life. It's
Hmm.
very beautiful.
Totally.
Um, I guess to quickly get this out of the way, I like to give thoughts on like the previous season. Like just going through this, the duel was great,
Hmm.
except for the ending where he lied and said the red kyber crystals are like that was a good luck try. Like why are you fucking with them? They have no money. I did not enjoy Tatooine Rhapsody. I did not enjoy it at all.
That was another one where it was like I appreciated the large departure from what we're usually served in the Star Wars realm. But yeah, like personal preference wise, it was definitely like it. It's okay. It's not something I'm gonna probably ever revisit until I
Mhm,
do like because I do want to do a full on review for Volume One eventually.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, uh, one of I think my three standouts were two of them are the same as you, Michael. The duel, and I think the Elder is what the episode is called of the
Yeah,
Master and Apprentice.
yeah,
Um,
it's the Elder.
and then the Ninth Jedi was my absolute favorite. That one was so cool. I loved what they did with
Mhm,
the like they bent the rules and lore a little bit of like how lightsabers work and everything, but I still really
yeah.
loved the rule set they established where like depending on the force user that's holding it, it changes color.
Well, I also like for the Ninth Jedi, they set it up where they had this motherfucker designed to look like the Sithiest Sith of
Yeah,
all time,
yeah, I
and
loved
then
that twist too.
and then
Spoilers, I
like
guess.
and then it turns out the actual leader of the Sith band is Mr. Human Guy,
Yeah,
Mr. Protagonist McGee. It's like,
yeah,
oh, he was the bad guy all along.
yeah. They completely flip it on its head. Yeah, I
Um,
really enjoyed it. Plus it just also had a lot of really good like Star Wars roots like spectacle. Like that chase sequence was
mhm.
fantastic as well. It had a really fun cute droid dynamic as well with our main character of the little girl. Um
I guess the thing with Volume One is Volume One seemed way more cinematic. It seemed more like a proof of concept almost, where it was the vibe I got from Volume One was this is like Eastern Animation Studios attempt to show commission us for the inevitable Star Wars animated series,
mhm.
whereas this one felt more experimental. This one felt way less like
Yeah.
as proof of concept and way more like we'll give you the rights and see what you can do with this.
Mhm.
Which was still the theme for Volume One, but like because of like sticking to that one wheelhouse of only Japanese animation, it felt a lot more almost like a demo basically. Like this is our
Well, and bigger
concept.
in scope, I think, too.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think looking back on volume two, a lot of the stories felt very small.
Hmm.
Like, I can't really think of maybe like something like the Spy Dancer played into a larger story of kind of like the Empire
Hmm.
rule, but like it was still very focused on the like mother son relationship.
I feel like Journey to the Dark Head was the biggest one in scope
Yeah,
because
I think so.
it had like going across planets and all about like
Yeah.
different I'm trying to think of the word here, like different factions, and they talk more about the war and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
I agree. And but I mean even then with that
Mhm,
episode it still was focused on those two characters mostly, right? And their like
mhm,
struggle with their part they play in that whole story.
Which makes me surprised, but I kind of get what's happening. Is that we have yet to find a Star Wars episode in Star Wars Visions without like a focus on a Jedi or Force user.
We
Which
have
but it
yet
makes me
to.
yeah, yeah. There's always been a Jedi or a Force user inside of. I guess the Spy Dancer. One caveat is the Spy Dancer. I'm pretty sure did not have a lightsaber pop up, but everywhere else it's been like that. I'm now kind of surprised that there's no there hasn't been an episode yet that focuses on like a space battle. You know, you'd think there'd
Right.
be that, and the
Yeah.
twins doesn't count. The twins
Yeah.
doesn't count.
Yeah. Um,
But like X wings and Tie fighters and like
I imagine it's also harder in a sense with the short film constraint, I guess, if you will, to really be able to get into that to that scale, probably. And
Mhm,
that's what lends this medium of this like short film anthology to the smaller stories, right?
mhm.
Um, Getting a little bit more on track
Yeah,
for general thoughts on volume two, because we have been kind of delving into a little bit
yeah.
specifics of episodes. Um, I really enjoyed it. I loved the wide variety. Like it was. I mean, obvious. Well, you can't really compare it to volume one because it was literally
Mhm,
just like anime that first time around. So I really appreciated uh, the global involvement because you really have studios from all over, like your South Africa, Japanese studios, Irish, Spanish. What else do we have? South Korean, French, Indian. Like it truly goes all over the
mhm,
world. There really doesn't seem to be anyone left out, and there's just a lot of quality in each of the episodes. I found it was way more consistent this time around, and that might also just play into my preferences of not being as into anime with
mhm.
Volume One. But I think it met my expectations overall, and I am really intrigued to see where they go going forward with this. I saw a really cool idea for the direction they could go with this kind of series going forward. We can
Mhm.
get back into that more later on in this review. But yeah, anything else you wanted to touch on before we truly get into the nitty gritty, Michael?
Well, you know that they're going to do a space battle eventually, and you know that what they're going to do is they're going to call it the pilot. They're going to
Ah,
call it
oh,
no.
please. I want
It's
that. I want
going
that so
it's
bad.
going to be called the pilot because we're going to focus on a single pilot, and
Yeah.
you know what they're going to call it. Like there's no way.
They already did a like I am your father pun with
Hmm.
one of the episode names.
Yeah,
So that I actually, oh, you know what? We'll save it for the nitty
yeah.
gritty. Cool. Okay. Yeah, this will be our official spoiler warning for volume two. So if you don't want to know any like specific details of any of the episodes going in, then pause the video now. Go check out Star Wars Visions Volume Two. If you are a Star Wars fan who's been kind of fatigued on like the sameness of the live action stuff, then I really recommend these anthologies because it really reinvigorates the Star Wars universe with fresh new ideas and perspectives. And then if you're also just a sucker for animation like me and Michael are, then absolutely check this out, especially with Volume 2 because you get such a wide variety of animation styles.
Hmm.
So yeah, spoilers from here on out for Star Wars Visions Volume 2. All right. Where do you want to start with this, Michael?
Um,
Let's.
I would I would say. Do we just want to run through episode by episode then? I guess.
We could, yeah. I mean, maybe let's start with the. Let's do standouts. Like what was
Hmm.
your maybe least favorite and most favorite episode of the bunch? There were 9 episodes in total for this volume.
Hmm.
Um, I think it, like I said, just before the spoiler warning, it was way more consistent across the board for me.
Hmm.
So in turn, it was very difficult for me to pick a favorite. At least,
Hmm.
I think um, "I Am Your Mother" was the weakest, but I still like enjoyed it for what it
Hmm.
was. It was very different from all of the other episodes because it was way more like comedic, and like it was like kind of riffing on Star Wars a lot of the time rather
Hmm.
than kind of embracing, and not like in a bad way, not embracing the like universe and like trying to tell like an authentic
Hmm.
story. It was like
Well,
very very much an Aardman style of like
mhm.
the light fun, really small like story. It was just like a family race, which was really hilarious.
I got more into it because I at the beginning I thought what was going to happen was it was going to be the story of, and then the mom didn't want her to race, but she came around to it,
Me too, yeah.
which I was not really game for, and I was like, I've seen this a million times, but I was happy to find no, it's kind of like the reverse. Like they
Right.
both want to race, but they're just not on the same page as
Yeah,
people,
yeah, she's
and
just
it's
embarrassed by her mom.
yeah. So like I enjoyed that, but it's like I was they did a really good job on the animation. I don't know if it's the same studio, but I want to say it's the Wallace and Gromit people.
It
Like,
is, you are correct,
okay,
yeah. Wallace and Gromit
um,
and Chicken Run.
and it's like you can see how far they've come because
Yeah.
the Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run were not bad claymation. But you can see like just like how many poor interns had to make like miniature like toasters and
Right.
like freaking like lug nuggets just to like
Sculpt all the like various in between like positions of uh like Wallace's face.
carve out the varicose veins on the evil mother.
Yeah.
All that shit. And then, like Wedge Antilles.
Yeah.
I wanted more jokes with that where he's like kind of like the fucking forgotten guy where he's just like I wanted more pompous Wedge Antilles.
Yeah, Wedge
Um
Wedge Antilles pushing a merch line was
yeah.
not something on my bingo card. Honestly, I was just blown away by being able to live in a world where we ended up getting some sort of Aardman animated Star Wars thing, because I wouldn't have like guessed that would happen in a million years. So
No, it was a fun time, but it definitely wasn't like what I was going in for.
yeah,
I do have some standouts, and I guess like a fight between the two of my favorites would either be The Pit or Screecher's Reach.
really, the pit is a surprise for me. I think that was probably one of the ones on the lower end for me if I were to
Really?
like rank them. But Screecher's Reach might be my it might be in my top three, if not runner up. I really liked that episode. That was really good. I
Well,
loved the horror elements they
what I
introduced.
liked about it was that it wasn't obvious it was going to be horror from the top.
Hmm.
It seemed more like it was going to be like sort of just a coming of age like friend story. I expected it to be like they go out and like the two younger kids get in trouble and the two big kids save them,
Hmm.
and that like when they go into the cave it's just like a force ghost and it doesn't actually hurt them, and then like they go like it would end with the four of them riding off into the sunset with like a new perspective and shit, and just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, we can face anything now that we face the dark side. But it
I
was like
I
the
thought it was going to be
medallion.
way more like Goonies esque.
Mhm.
But
Well, the Goonies does have a man's body falling out of a freezer, so let's be fair here. It was Goonies esque. It
yeah,
was.
that's true.
But
Um,
it just came together so well. Like the medallion, I was like, okay, so that's like a picture of like, or that's like a memento of her mom or something.
mhm.
And then it's like the little red glow. It's like you did well. Like fuck, ah
Oh no.
no.
Yeah, that was really well done. I loved the like design of the like Sith demon that like the Sith
the
user
old
or the
lady.
Force user. Yeah.
It was just like an old lady. I thought like
Yeah.
that's got to be just like the effect of the like the cave. Or you know how every planet just has a dark side cave? No
Yeah,
light side
yeah,
caves
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
We always just got the dark side cave.
Yeah.
Um, I thought it was going to be that, but like just like the sound design of her scream and like the way it like constantly echoes throughout it.
Yeah.
Um, no, it was a really great story, and I love the twist at the end. I was like, okay, yeah, I did not see this coming, and I think it works really well because it
Hmm.
was episode 2,
Right.
because because it's placed second in the slot. Usually, you'd assume that like if anyone's popping into Visions because they're promoting. Oh, it's May the 4th. I'm
Hmm.
Jerry McGee. I don't really care about Star Wars, but they're promoting Visions. Let's see what Volume 2 is about. You'd assume that for those kinds of people, they'd pop that into the back end, where like it's more dedicated people would be doing it. But no, Episode 2. Here's a Gandhi Tartakovsky esque like Irish animated. Is it Irish? Were they
It is
Irish?
Irish. Yep.
Yeah, like Irish animated team with a fucking like old lady horror story.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that because there isn't a ton of Irish mainstream animation, but I always enjoy it because it always has this very very noticeable feel to it. But like I love like they do a very specific kind of gritty and like heavy atmosphere that like the rain and the dark greens provide
Yeah.
that I really enjoyed. That's why it's one of my standouts. The
Hmm.
Pit. Sorry, do you want to have more to say
No,
about
no. Yeah. Let's go over the pit.
the Pit? I'm really surprised it's on your lower end. It was for me a very enjoyable. Okay, maybe enjoyable is the wrong word given
Is it?
that.
I'm loving what I'm seeing on screen right now of all
I
these
cheered.
slaves being
I cheered
forced.
when they threw him down. Like, yeah, they
So
used the Pit.
yeah, I want to like kind of revoke that a little bit because while it might be on my lower end as a whole episode, might be one of my standout moments in an episode,
Mhm.
and that's the moment when they like actually just full on like chuck him back into the pit. I was like, damn, they
Yeah.
they went there. That's dark, man.
No, I enjoyed it because it was so simple. I
Hmm.
I almost wish there was less dialogue.
Which is
Um,
saying something already because like well maybe more so in the first half of that episode it's like almost no dialogue at all except for like
I
the
like
stormtroopers I think.
the chant that they had was just follow the light.
Hmm.
That I enjoyed, but I wish that like instead of like giving like a whole spiel about there's always light inside of people. I wish he just told her like always follow the light, and that was the one thing he like told her
Hmm.
and had give more importance to it. Like I feel like it would have been a story that benefited from less dialogue, but otherwise I really enjoyed how dark they went with it because the problem that you encounter with the Empire, and if you've played any part of Jedi Survivor, you'll know this is like if you run across any stormtrooper, they'll be talking, "Oh, it's so damp in here, and I want to go home. Oh, geez, I hate being
It's like
stationed here.
water
Home is
cooler
so
talk
beautiful."
anytime you
Yeah,
encounter stormtroopers.
and like that's the vibe you get there, and you're kind of like, how did they take over the galaxy? But then you come over to the Pit, and like all the commander says is dig here, and
Hmm.
then they just fucking dig and dig and dig, and just like how fucking dark they went with it. Like, okay, cool, we have all the stuff we need. Turns off lights, leaves.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Which
literally
I
just leaves
didn't
them.
logistically there was a bit of an error with that. I felt because they showed earlier on there was like a pathway that like circled around it. I don't.
Yeah, like earlier on when the pit wasn't as deep, I
Mhm.
think they were like carving paths, but then I guess they just went to straight up like shuttling people down
Which
the
doesn't
deeper
make
they went.
sense, really.
Yeah, I
It
feel
doesn't.
like that's like a or maybe I don't know, getting into the logistics of slave
You'll.
mining.
I feel it's important to mention just because it is like a main aspect of it, and I feel like
It's a
maybe
bit of an
sticking
oversight, maybe in terms
like
of plot
sticking to
hole.
like every time that they should have just been lowering people in via ship would have been better because that that was one of the thing I questioned when they left them was like, but there
But then
was.
they also had their camp set up at the bottom too, right? So it's not like they really needed to
Yeah.
leave. They only
Well, they
ever
did
needed to.
leave.
Well, they did
Oh,
need to leave, yes,
oh yeah, I understand
ultimately.
what you mean.
Yeah, they didn't
Greed.
need to bring them back up for any reason, so they just made them like just set up your camp
Nick's
here.
Nick's like, why would you want to leave? You have a camp down there.
Yeah,
What are you
you got
complaining
everything
about?
you could possibly need.
Why are you bothering the people in the city? You have a
Yeah,
camp.
yeah.
No,
I would have liked a little bit more, just as like a kind of a nitpick. thing, I would have liked a little bit more development of the guy going to the city and trying to convince people rather than just
Mhm.
that one like soapbox moment of like, listen to me, there's people that need your help. I would have liked to have spent a little bit more time there,
Mhm.
but just with the
I'm
nature of the short
yeah,
form.
that's the thing is like it's a short. Like
Yeah.
if they could have gone 45 minutes with it, they would have gone probably more in depth with that.
Yeah,
But also, I'm happier it's locked down because then we probably would have gotten more dialogue and like
that's
more
true. Yeah.
like this. This sounds stupid to say, but more character development as a negative, which like I don't think it needs that. I think it works very well as a concept piece. I wouldn't want to see the pit colon the movie dash the
Well,
game.
and this
You
kind
know?
of like plays into my least favorite part of that episode is that little tack on the end of the girl having like hinting at force powers. And I
Yeah.
think this also might just play into the larger thing I noticed. It's not a huge problem, but it's just an observation I made cuz I like basically binged this
Mhm.
series over the weekend that it came out. Um and binging might not be the best model for it because you really start to see a pattern
Yeah.
throughout the episodes of like uh, overbearing antagonistic forces uh, in some kind in a lot of the episodes, and then there's uh, like the start of the hero's journey type thing where like a young person will discover they have force powers or they're trying to conceal that they have force powers and then they encounter like a Jedi or something, a more seasoned force user, and they bring them with them to learn
Yeah.
the ways of the force. It's just a noticeable pattern a lot throughout the series, um, and especially noticing that towards the back end of the series, which I think the pit is like the third or second last episode. Um,
Um.
so
Yes. Second last.
okay, yeah,
Which
uh,
is very funny to go from the pit to Owl's song. It's
yeah,
very
complete opposite tone shift.
okay, kids. Do you enjoy the pit? Okay, time for your
And
show.
for bright, happy, needle knitted, cute characters.
But it was like it is genuinely such a shocker moment, like having the dark swallow him as he
Oh
falls.
yeah, yeah. That
And
was
also, it sounds so fucked up to say, but that commander looks so swish. He looks so swish with the fucking cape and the orange.
he. Yeah, his design looked really cool and
Like, do you
badass.
think? But like, none of the other commanders have capes. So, like, do you think he only wears that when like he's in command? Like, if like if like a purge trooper inquisitor or like a commander's
He's
coming
just
over, he's
a dark or a Darth Vader fanboy.
like if someone of higher rank is coming over, does it take the cloak off? Don't
Yeah,
tell them. Don't tell them. Like that was outside of uniform. Don't tell them.
yeah.
No, it was. He looks so fucking swish.
Hmm.
And I want to see people cosplay that because it's such a simple addition, but like it just adds so much like regality to it.
Capes make characters more badass.
But it was also like a really fun kind of symbolic moment where
Hmm.
it's been it's like been hearing this phrase every now and again where it's like the only way fascism exists is if people agrees it exists. So
Hmm.
I like that it didn't turn into, and it was given the nature of the pit, it was a good chance it was going to turn into a mass slaughter of the citizenry. Just
Yeah,
I'm glad that the guy that they kind of symbolized that with, well, they're not going to listen to us, so I guess we lose.
yeah.
Bye.
Well, oh yeah, with the citizens from the city. Yeah, I
Yeah,
completely thought they would have just like opened fire on them.
shove them in.
Yeah.
We're
Um
getting real use out of this pit.
we are. We're going deep with it. Ah.
ah.
Yeah, I
Um,
wasn't a huge fan of that little tack on the end with like the force user like twist, I guess if you will.
um,
But otherwise, yeah, still a decent episode. Still among my lower ranked as an episode overall.
but
Um
I feel like for a high ranked, I feel like between the two of us, we'd probably put the spy dancer in second or third place. Am I right in that?
I you are correct. I actually really I think I just appreciated Spy Dancer over um Screecher's Reach a little bit more just because I don't know if it was because it's kind of loosely off the tails of Andor, which I
Mhm.
loved. Um, it definitely had that similar tone throughout the episode. But just overall, it was such a standout because it was kind of the outlier. It was the only one without a force user, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Um, so that was a really nice refresher. It was beautifully animated. That was the Tartakovsky studio, the studio that did
Really?
Primal and uh, what was the other one?
That's interesting because I understand why they did it, why they didn't have as harsh lining. Because
Mhm.
when you're using fabric and then you tell the animators, "I want harsh lining on that," it's basically a fuck you.
Yeah, right.
The world's biggest, like, I want bold lining on that cloth. Can you please? Uh, make your
um,
no. Uh,
the other thing that studio did was also Love, Death, and Robots episode. So there is a
mhm.
bit of crossover with those two anthologies. They did Sucker of Souls, which I think was in the first volume of Love, Death, and Robots.
I don't remember.
Um,
I don't remember. Like Love, Death, and Robots compared to Visions kind of blurs together after like 3 volumes.
which is it that sounds almost a little ironic because you would think a Star Wars anthology would blend
Yeah.
together way more with the synergy of lightsabers and force and space battles and stuff.
Well, I think it's more so because Love, Death, and Robots, even though clearly like seasons 2 and 3 of Love, Death, and Robots were actually one season, like
Hmm.
Love, Death, and Robots has like 32 episodes now, and
Right.
Visions has like 16 or 12.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
no, it's
Um,
so
but
I
yeah,
enjoyed the Spy Dancer a
me
lot.
too.
The voice acting on the stormtroopers could have been a little bit better. That's the one time.
They felt way
Just
more in
watching it in
line with
English.
Jedi Survivor stormtrooper.
Oh no, I just meant quality of voice acting. I'm
Oh,
sorry to
okay.
those voice act like literally the opening, like the young stormtrooper and the bigger stormtrooper
Hmm.
putting on his helmet. To be clear, this is not like how fat he is. So I'm not saying a bigger stormtrooper. Paul Blart, stormtrooper cop. Um, the that like just like the voice acting there could have been a little bit better. I enjoyed the voice acting of the world's most French engineer. We must hurry. Get, it will work this time. I enjoyed the ship design also. I enjoyed that it was like a
Yeah.
bunch of like TIE fighters and an
Yeah.
Imperial shuttle like glued together.
Yeah, yeah. It
Um,
took me a minute when that ship popped up. I'm like, that's a weird looking Imperial ship. I'm like, oh no, it's the cobbled together Rebel ship.
I enjoyed that. I I almost feel like it would have worked better if the young dancer was the daughter of the spy dancer,
Well, that's what I
because,
thought initially,
because then
the
you
way
would
they set it
have
up.
because then you would have the two of them both have stakes to not kill the imperial general guy, um, because then like they have more of a relation.
Hmm.
Um, but no, like otherwise, it's really good and a really good showcase of cloth animation. I also enjoy the old lady on the drum kit who
Yeah.
saw everyone leaving and just like, I'm gonna say like this can't be good. I can't feel.
Yeah. I
Um,
really liked the more adult tone as well. That Imperial what is it, security droid? The like K2 model was like fucking shit up. It like completely ripped apart that one droid and was just like uh
well, that's Gandhi Tartakovsky busy pulling from his Samurai Jack days
yeah.
of if it's a robot, you can do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
you can absolutely rip the shit out of them. Yeah. Um yeah, that was definitely a standout. My other two I think would probably be uh the first episode, Sith. I think that was a
Mhm.
fantastic launching point. um the animation style in that one was gorgeous. I loved the use of color throughout that episode. It had a lot
Mhm.
of like signature Star Wars like set pieces. It had a fun like chase sequence. The vehicle design was really cool.
And I love the big circle bike. It took
Yeah,
me a
yeah.
little bit to get into the style
Mhm.
because and this is nitpicking, but there is one specific shot where she's walking through her place, and
And
like
it's
the
just
light,
white.
Well, it's more so on her model when she walks,
Oh.
and like there's a zoom in on her model, and like there's reflection, and you can tell at that specific moment that like okay, that's almost like an Unreal Engine looking like person's face, like actual skin texture
Hmm.
with like animation nodes plastered to it. That was my experience. I don't know why they used that close-up shot specifically.
Hmm.
I don't know if you noticed it. Doesn't seem like it, but that
I
was
don't
just
think
like one
so.
thing. It took me out of it for a second, where I didn't enjoy the concept of a person walking around with like animation nodes stuck to their face, like
Right.
brush strokes like glued to their forehead.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. I liked the droid wasn't just a little helper that when the one guy grabbed it, it was like I have a cannon for a chest. Boom, his
Yeah.
head's gone. I guess like I enjoy like I don't think for animation to be adult it needs to be more violent, but I
Hmm.
enjoy that they went there and that it created more of a gap between episodes.
Hmm.
Because that's one of the things that I did not enjoy in the Bad Batch, which felt very incongruent with the rest of the series, was that the Bad Batch, at least in the last season, would constantly be setting their blasters to stun.
Right.
Which like we are like this is like a special ops black water team.
Right.
Like if it's for other clones, I get it. They don't
Sure.
want to hurt their brothers on, but they use it on stormtroopers. And I'm like, you would fucking
Yeah.
not.
Imperial
Fucking
officers and yeah.
we can only stun them. Which like at the end of the series, and they start using blaster bolts, which is fine, great.
It.
But but like this as a comparison, I like that here they're going for it. That they're not limiting it to just like maybe Pam B, we don't hurt each other for realsies. We're just play fighting. It's like no,
Hmm.
people die. People get their heads shot off by fucking hidden droidicas.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed the design of both of the characters, and I loved the like framework of the story. It worked really well as like kind of like a abuser abusee relationship, like a really toxic relationship. The like Sith master and apprentice framework was like a beautiful uh like comparison
I
for that.
liked I liked their use of the color orbs.
Hmm.
Um, and there was that one transition where it went from like her painting to the coffee droplet or
Oh
whatever the
right,
Star
yeah.
Wars version of coffee is, cop
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, this is a small deviation. I was going through the Galactic Star Cruiser. Do you know about that? The failed $6,000 Disneyland trip.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it's
Um,
failed yet. I think it's still like in business.
well, they you can't go anymore. They've turned it off for a
Oh,
bit as
really?
because it cost $6,000,
Well,
so they didn't get a lot of
well,
customers.
yeah.
But like a friend and I get last night, we're going through like images and itinerary, and they had rebranded the soda machine for Star Wars drinks. Do you want to guess what Coca Cola in Star Wars is called? Like the
Oh
whole
God.
aesthetic.
Oh no, I don't know.
Conk conk.
Kong Kong?
Get me a nice fresh glass of conk conk.
Can I top up your Kong Kong, sir?
Ah.
Mm, cool off with a nice, refreshing glass of Kong Kong.
Oh no, it's but no, I liked the it was a really cool transition going from her painting to that. I didn't though honestly quite enjoy the pacing. I understand that we have to get to know our character in the beginning,
Hmm.
but we kind of didn't get to know her a lot for like the length of time we were with her, besides like I want to paint, painting not going well.
Yeah.
I just like I wanted more. Like I felt like there was a good chance you could have used that as a moment to like I don't know, like she could have had so like holovids busy playing, or like a picture somewhere, maybe even off frame, like she tucked away somewhere of like her and the other three Sith when they're maybe like younger, and like maybe they could have had blue and green lightsabers, and like
Hmm.
oh, so she's fallen but returned. Like give me more about her beyond like I'm a Sith, but I don't jazz with that anymore. I just want to paint, dog. Like I'm not. I felt like more could have been done with that, which is why it's not higher for me. If it was 5 minutes shorter and we went from like the painting to the fight way quicker, or we spent more of that establishing time establishing her as a
Hmm.
character, it would have been higher up for me.
Yeah. I can see the urgency doesn't get established maybe as soon as it could have been. I still really enjoyed just the overall framing of that episode and how it was paced. I think it worked for me overall. Um, and large part of it might also just have been I was just enthralled with the animation style up
Mm-hmm.
until like we actually started getting going with like her relationship with her old master and the two. I don't know if they were Sith users
They
or if they
would
were
have
just bounty hunters.
they would have either been they had lightsabers, right? I'm kind of blanking on that. If they didn't
I
have,
don't think so. I know they had
if we're
jetpacks. I remember that
I'm pretty
much.
sure, at least according to the article here in Wikipedia, which is always trustworthy.
Yep.
If this is High Republic days, that probably means that they are Sith acolytes, which comes
Okay.
in two forms. There are Sith acolytes who have Force powers, and they get the lightsabers, and they get to wield the Force powers, but don't. It's kind of a rough deal being a Sith acolyte because usually it means that either A, you have just enough Force power to be used as a foot soldier,
Right.
um, or B, you have enough force power to be noticed, but you have to wait for like 20 people above you to keel over so
Right.
that you can get your own Sith master. Otherwise, you just like basically it's an unpaid internship with
Right.
possibility for promotion, honestly.
Right.
Which I guess like you probably get a better deal as a bounty hunter.
Hmm.
Like you just like probably what those
Well,
guys
that's the
were is
whole
like
reason they're there, right? Is to work for money.
either that or they're Sith acolytes who like they believe in the Sith doctrine, but
Right.
they don't have force powers. But they will sponsor you a jetpack and a gun. Just
Right.
watch out for droids with cannons in their chest. They can be
Yeah.
pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Um,
That was definitely a highlight episode for me. I did really enjoy the just going back to the design, like the High Republic esque design of like specifically the lightsabers too. They looked very like uh within that time period,
yeah,
which was a cool like variation on
the
the lightsabers.
the choice though to give the yellow lightsaber a bit of a bend to it
Well, it was
just
like a
made me think
katana, right?
banana.
Banana.
I don't know. I saw it. I was like, oh, banana, the banana saber.
Oh my god.
Watch out! If she hits you with that, your potassium will go through the roof. Oh, my potassium.
Not my
Um,
potassium.
uh,
My other just moving
yeah,
on to other episodes. My one other like highlight episode, which I think might also be yours, is Journey to the Dark Head.
yes.
Yeah.
I
That was
watched that
done
one with
by the Legend of Korra animation team.
nice.
Um, they
I
also
don't
did
quite see
Voltron
it,
Legendary
honestly.
Defender and I think some episodes of the Boondocks. Um,
See, that's interesting. That's interesting because you can see the traces of Korra and Voltron, but with Into the Dark Head, I didn't really see it. But I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it
yeah,
a
that was
fair
really
amount
good.
because it was way more in line with like the Star Wars stories you'd find.
Hmm.
Um,
Totally.
I was confused for a bit when the girl from the planet was not force sensitive.
Yeah, me too. I thought she was like part of the Jedi Order in that first like flashback sequence, right, with the stones and in that temple or whatever. But I guess not.
But I
Maybe
did
she's a
like
Jedi
the
acolyte.
those exist. Those do exist. Usually, though, like if you're a Jedi acolyte in the High Republic days, you'll generally find yourself on the front lines with like a minigun and shit. If you're a Jedi acolyte in like surprising like during the Clone Wars, you just get made a temple guard, which I think it
You get a
paid well.
lightsaber at least.
No, 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 no. If you're a temple guard, you don't get a lightsaber.
What am I thinking of with the yellow lightsabers then? With the
Though
like gold and white?
the, those are Jedi temple guards. I'm talking about there are genuinely temple guards, as in
Oh, like
people.
security guards.
Yeah, like the
Like Paul
officer
Blart.
for. Yeah, like Paul Blart, temple guard.
It all comes first full circle.
No, like do you remember the outfit that the officer from Naboo had in the Phantom
Yes.
Menace?
Hmm.
You basically dress like that, and you guard the temple. you log who comes in and out.
Watch the
You
security cams.
Yeah, no, but the temple guards, though, the ones with the yellow lightsabers and all ones, those are for arresting Jedi and bounty hunters. The temple
Mhm.
guards are like, if they're a looky loos from the public, like, what up, man? I came over
Maybe they
from
have a
Mustafar.
tiny lightsaber, but it acts as like a metal detector wand in the
Maybe
airports.
maybe they have like the base of a baton and they put
Yeah,
they got
yeah,
a light baton.
yeah. There
No,
you
but
go.
like, hey man, I came over from Mustafar. I want to check out the Jedi Temple, and those are the guys who are like, no, shoo, off with you. No,
Yeah.
no,
Go
off with
on,
you.
get.
Yeah, shoot. No, but I enjoyed Journey to Darkhead. I
Hmm.
enjoyed the indirect storytelling with the fact that the whole of the Jedi Order seemed to be put on a ship as opposed to like a proper temple, and it
Hmm.
made sense because they said they were losing the war that was going on.
Hmm.
I generally dislike that. I've come to not like that as much after the sequels. I am over the
The
small
underdog
plucky
story.
yeah, I'm over the small plucky group of 10 people and their dog fighting off the forces of evil. I
But
would like
everybody
a
loves an
Star
underdog,
War.
Michael.
No, give me a Star War with battlefronts and tactics,
Yeah, yeah.
not if we place this one bomb on this enormous strategically impossibly important thing, we win the war. This is their off switch basically.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so sick of that shit by this
Yeah.
point. But I enjoyed that there was environment storytelling with it without them mentioning like, oh gee willikers, I do miss the temple on Coruscant.
Hmm.
Um, I I enjoyed it. I don't have like too much to say because it is more of a generic Star Wars story. Like if you ever read Legends or went through any of the like High Republic games, it feels a lot more generic in that way.
Hmm.
I love the villain design. I loved
Me
him
too.
so
I
much.
wish he kept the mask on, honestly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Nobody ever keeps the mask on.
Nobody ever does. He
Um,
went full like Sephiroth in the like final act of that episode, if you will.
mhm.
He's got the long dark hair. I guess Sephiroth has silver hair, but whatever. That's
Yeah,
besides the
I
point.
I don't even remember what he looks like without the mask. I'm gonna be honest, but I liked it a lot, um, and I enjoyed that again they
I
went for
really
it.
enjoyed the dynamic of the two characters, like the Jedi and the
Mhm.
mechanic. I thought they were great. I would love to see more of them, which is, I
Oh yeah,
think.
no, like that one definitely had the most legs for a long term series.
Hmm.
Um, Spy Dancer seems a lot. Well, I don't mean to insult Gendy here, but Spy Dancer seems a lot more like a show that would get great reviews, and then three people I know would see it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of goes in line with Andor, honestly, a little depressingly. Um, like it feels plucked straight out of Andor, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, go
But
watch Andor if you haven't seen that already, for the love of
I've
God.
seen Andor. I've seen
For
Andor.
everyone at home, like, please, God, that's like the best thing Disney has made in the Star Wars universe. Um,
But no,
although there's no Jedi, so there's that.
I enjoyed Journey to Darkhead a fair bit, but I do think it has the most legs just because it is the most place to go in
Hmm.
terms of like an actual battle.
Yeah,
It's like if Disney's listening for proof of concept and wanting to hear which one would you like to see more of,
yeah.
it's definitely that one. Um, because I feel I don't want to see more of what comes out of the Screech one because
Well, I mean, it would be very dark.
yeah, like that's my thing. Is like a 90% chance she encounters her friends like 10 years later
Yeah,
and she
murders
kills
them.
three she kills three of them and one of them kills her and
Yeah,
the show ends like that's the only way that ends.
yeah. Um,
um
well, moving on a little bit,
yeah.
I think. Well, I at this rate we might be covering basically all of them, but like I do want to just shout out In the Stars and Ow's Song for their animation in particular.
Mhm.
Those two episodes were like stunning. Honestly, In the Stars was like just as good as Creatures Reach for me. I mean, the animation design really carried that one for me, but I still loved the like that story between the sisters. Um,
I
and then
actually
Ow's
went
Song, I was actually like uh, a little hesitant on going in because we had just finished the pit, so it was a very dark note to end on. But like I was surprised that we were ending on Ao's song for the series. It didn't necessarily feel like a not that it really needed to, because it is an anthology, but it felt like an interesting choice to place at the end of the order if there was any
Mhm.
decision in that process of what goes where. But it surprised me. I actually really enjoyed it.
I actually did not enjoy Into the Stars that much.
Oh,
The
really? Okay.
Yeah, the animation was very much standout, but I just couldn't get behind it. I didn't really enjoy the pacing, or like just like there was a lot of repetition in dialogue of
Hmm.
like, no, stay here, no, I want to come, no, stay here, no, I want to come,
Yeah,
like,
the
why are you
bratty
here?
little
I had to
sister.
come. I was like, that went on for a bit too much for me.
It also had a
I
bit of an exposition dump with when she like touches her hand on the stone, and then it's like, okay, this is how this
Yeah,
works.
that really should have been no dialogue. That
Right.
should have been like, I almost feel like the story would have been better if they use an entirely made up language with no subtitles.
Yeah, honestly, that's something Star Wars should start embracing more. I understand it is like kind of a little like difficult to do, and it would be a
Yeah.
lot of work.
Just make a language. Just make a
Yeah, just
language.
make a language. Come on. What's holding you back?
But I thought that the world's most sniveliest woman fit more with "I am your mother" design, like the evil
Oh.
commander. Like
Right.
she was like, "The Empire's
Yeah.
control of this planet." And I'm just like, "What are you doing here? You're in the
Yeah.
wrong. This is the wrong
Well,
set.
that's her day
You're
job. Then she was off. She had a day off to go race with her daughter.
she puts on the black wig. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no, like,
Shunk.
but why is it one solid piece?
It's like a Lego piece. Lego
um,
hair.
no, but I don't know. Into the Stars just like didn't hit me. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It just like in comparison to the rest, it just was.
Hmm.
It was more of a short. I was like, okay, let's kind of move along. I want to see
Hmm.
what else is on here.
Yeah. I think that's where it lands for an honorable mention for me more than anything. I think the animation was phenomenal and probably some of my favorite out of the entire series. But I think, yeah, is where the story is probably what kind of held it back a little bit from being one of the favorites. What did you think of
Our
Al's song?
Yeah, our song. I enjoyed the animation a lot. And I think it wasn't really my wheelhouse, but I thought it was a very solid entry into the series, and
Hmm.
I think it was fine to end off on a lighter note. I don't think that Screecher's Reach would have been the best spot.
Yeah, right.
You just killed Grandma. Good night,
Or the
kids.
pit, honestly.
No, well, the pit has at least an uplifting ending. The
That's
Screecher's
true.
Reach is
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
Screecher's Reach is just like diabolical
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
I like fully expected in Screecher's Reach for the Sith lady to be like, "Now kill your friends,
Yeah. Right.
just kill them all."
Yeah. Kill them.
Uh,
Kill them now.
but no, I liked Au's song specifically because like you could see like they were using the macroest of all macro lenses, and the amount of detail that went into those models. You could see like the individual fibers
Hmm.
on the models, which is like the behind the scenes of that must have been nuts. Like to build those rigs,
Hmm.
which I assume has to be like custom dolls with like wire meshes inside. Because I
Hmm.
don't know how. That's the fun thing. You can't actually have like fluff stand up, Nick. I don't know if you knew
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Just them just get like $100,000 budget from Disney, and they're like, I don't understand. They won't
It's not
stand up. How
working.
do we get through this?
Yeah.
It's like send it to a studio who has no idea how to do stop motion. Like I made this bush out of clay, but it looks like shit. What do we do? How do you
Yeah.
turn on the camera? Uh,
It's just one guy running back and forth trying to stand up the model and then press record on the
he's got
camera.
he's got the camera on the other side of the room zoomed in. Ah shit! Runs over, stands up. Ah shit! No, but it was really grand. It was a really grand time, and I think it was a good closer for it. And it's left me interested as to what they'll do for another one. That said, I'm now
Another
more
volume, you mean?
yeah, but
Okay.
like now I'm more in the mood for like okay, now give me the long version of the Duel, the Elder,
Hmm.
and Journey to Darkhead.
Well, and I think this is a great playground for them to like kind of test the waters and see like what episodes are people's favorite, and then they can hopefully
Mhm.
take that and be like, okay, people really vibed with the Ninth Jedi.
Mhm.
Let's give like full funding to do a 90-minute feature to the same studio, same vein type of thing. Um, yeah, I want to get into direction for like volume 3 and visions going forward, but I also just want to do a couple more notes. Au's song, I love that music twist, kind of how we were talking about at the
Mhm.
beginning of the review. That was really nice. The music was beautiful. um, Loved that. I think it's needlepoint stitching, or not stitching, needlepoint like design. I don't
Mhm.
remember what it's called, but like the like wool characters that are like shaped and formed
Yeah.
are like really cool and unique. Um, and then blending that with like the like claymation esque like environments. It was also a very vibrant uh, episode, which was really nice.
I think it's not. I think it's they built models. I think they actually built like wood and probably like minor bits of plaster models
Hmm.
because the lighting just wouldn't work for clay because clay is such a reflective
Right.
material
Yeah. Yeah.
that they had to use
But
something more
I guess it
matty.
would be same type of environments you would
Yeah,
find in claymation. Because I don't think they make environments out of the clay. I think it's only the characters that are made out of clay in the those types of films.
yeah.
I also liked that they didn't kill off the dad. I thought that would have been an easy, predictable like story beat to go with.
Stormtroopers show up and throw him in the pit.
um, but
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
I like that he survived, and I liked their dynamic too. Um,
we didn't cover the Bandits of Golok.
yes, that's what I wanted to touch on next, just as because that's literally the only episode we haven't talked about, so we might as well touch on it at the very least. I thought uh, the two like big set pieces were really fun, of like the train like chase, or the like
Yeah.
rebel outbursts around the train, but then like having a fun dynamic of like thinking the brother is part of the rebel group while he's just
Mhm.
trying to escape from stealing sweets on the train. That was a
Fuck
fun.
those two guys. Fuck those two guys on the train. Those
Oh, I
fucking
know,
stooges.
right? Yeah, they were
Fucking awesome.
absolutely despicable, just being like completely outing the little girl. Um,
Um,
it
and
was really well done. I loved the twist. I really liked the design of the like really heavily Indian inspired Inquisitor.
oh
That
yeah,
was cool.
I loved the safe zone. That was absolutely beautiful with all the lights and stuff. That
Yeah.
was really fantastic.
Hmm.
My problem though is that, and I know this is a different studio, but it looks so close to the Clone Wars animation
That's what
that
I kind of thought too.
that
Yeah.
I just
That's
like.
you didn't like that though?
It wasn't bad. It was just like going into Visions and before seeing that, okay, this is an Indian studio, seeing like the thumbnail for that, I was just like, I wasn't enthused because after 7 seasons of the
Oh,
Clone Wars, like two or three seasons of Rebels, I think
four.
it's 4 seasons of Rebels, 2 seasons of the Bad Batch. You're kind of like, I have
Hoping
seen
for
this.
more,
Yeah, and it is different.
or different, I should say. Yeah.
There was more detailing in the face in
Hmm.
terms of this, where like the Clone Wars animation team more so like you'd never believe that anyone has a beard in that show. They have
Right.
like large like globs glued to their
Right.
faces. Like
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi's beard is just like this
Well, it's
like
like Lego pieces again, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But the I liked I'm blanking on its name. The Bandits of Golok. I liked it was more detailing there.
Hmm.
It was a little bit slow in the fight animation, but I understand that there are studios outside of the states who maybe don't have as much experience. I don't know how much their budget
Sure.
was.
Yeah.
I would guess $100,000 per. That'd be my hat in the ring.
Hmm.
And you can only do so much with $100,000 when you also have to build train set, a desert,
Yeah.
special like rides for both the rebels and the stormtroopers, and then also a small town you only get to see for a second, and then also a safe zone. Um, and then I guess like the only weird thing was like I didn't understand the grandma's lightsabers because
Me too.
like she pulled them apart and then boom,
But
but
then
when
she
she
puts
put
them
the
back together in a staff again.
so like
Where did the middle bit come from?
is it like a chainsaw kind of thing where there's like lots of little emitters across it, or like what's going on here,
Right.
Grandma?
Yeah. Or the like the middle piece just drops to the ground when she like ignites them, and then she like force picks it back up and then connects it all back together. I don't know. That
I
was weird. I'm glad
genuinely
I'm not the only one who noticed that.
I genuinely thought she was gonna die, though. To be honest, I thought she was gonna die
Oh,
because
really?
she was just like she looked like she was 90 million years old, and I'm like,
I
she's
mean,
not
she
gonna
held
live
her
this.
own against the Inquisitor,
Oh
though.
no,
My
she
big
wasn't even
question,
out of
though, is
breath.
where did the Sith troopers go? They just disappeared in the food
Did
fight.
they? Um, I I think they were probably conked out. Probably it was the
Probably.
intention.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but no, it was a decent entry. It was a decent
Yeah.
entry.
I enjoyed it. Again, it was still that kind of similar beat of like the young Force user,
Mhm.
like learning her powers and stuff, and then going with the elder Jedi or
They
whatever, right?
they at least ran through that as opposed to the pit where it's like, and all along she was a
Yeah.
Jedi,
Right.
which then does that kind of guilt her
Yeah.
like for not
Could
like
you not
catching
have
him,
lifted all of them out?
or like just caught the one guy
Yeah.
like
Right.
his
Yeah.
force ghost is there like what the fuck, what the fuck.
His Force Ghost is stuck down there in the pit forever.
Uh,
That's depressing. Okay, we are now over the hour mark, so I think we want to try and wrap things up a little bit.
yeah.
But direction for going forward, I want to just shout out one of my Facebook friends, Jared Baker.
Mhm.
He actually, I think you might be friends with him too, because we went to like school with him. We were the year above or whatever. But he made a really cool post on Facebook with his kind of theory, and I'm very into it. With
Mhm.
how they went with Volume One being all anime studios
Mhm.
and having that kind of synergy, and then uh, Volume Two being worldwide animation, had more variety to it, but was still with that kind of theme of like really like unique animation, and all of these studios bringing their vision and their
Their Star Wars vision.
voice, their Star Wars vision. Uh, I think his idea for volume three could be really cool, of doing specific directors, and most notably
Mhm.
directors who have a lot of experience and are masters in the animation realm, and do like a director per episode. So like you've got like you could do a Guillermo del Toro episode. We could finally get a Wes Anderson Star Wars episode. We
Mhm.
could do another Tartakovsky episode, because I don't think Tartakovsky was actually involved with the like the Spy Dancer. I think that was just the
Mhm.
studio, the animation studio
Yeah.
that he worked with in the
Well,
past.
luckily, Disney's already approached James Cameron for Star Wars Vision season 10 when like technology finally catches up with his vision.
There you go. Nice. That's good. But yeah, I love that idea of doing like specific directors for each episode, and like animation uh like juggernauts
Mhm.
in the directing space. That's something I would love to see with volume three.
My stance is more so, and this is a bit cold. I think we're fine without Volume 3. That's my thing. I,
Really?
I would prefer, and I know this is a bit cold because I'm sure there's a bajillion trillion million animation studios who want to prove
Right.
their worth. But I feel like me personally, I more want, like I said, I want now a series. Give me the animated. You've
Right.
shown me the proof of concept. There are like 4 or 5 really standard ideas.
Hmm.
Maybe not the bunny one. I know a lot of people
Right.
like the bunny one.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's
Fine,
gotta
it's
follow.
fine. It's fine. I don't.
Hmm.
I'm fine about. But like, give me that series now is more what I want.
Hmm.
If they do make a Vision season 3, which they probably will do, my assumption is it's probably a lot cheaper to just do like 20 proof of concepts than like a whole animated series. So I'm probably going to get Visions season 27.
Right.
Um, but my feeling is sticking with the worldwide one. I prefer more just because I'm a little bit thrown off on the director's idea because Guillermo del Toro's box of mysteries or whatever that Netflix horror
Cabinet of
anthology,
Curiosities.
Cabinet of Curiosities.
You're close.
I
Potato,
did
potato.
not. That was like episode per director. I
Hmm.
got to like episode 4, and I was just like, "There's just it just doesn't gel well," and it just was like so wildly removed. And I feel like that's a problem when you get to like choosing big name directors, is that you can't really build a series around a theme because every director's gonna be like, "Well, I want to do this theme, and I want to do this theme." Maybe instead of doing the James Camerons and Guillermo del Toros of the world, you look at big animation directors like freaking who directed who directed like season 2 of the original Ben 10 series run, like one of the best for me
Sure,
animation
go a
runs.
bit
Like
more deep cut. Yeah, I can see
yeah,
that.
like going to Man of Action and like looking at big name animation directors, maybe
Hmm.
that. But I vibe more with just spreading around the world, like more like let's get like more French animation in there. Because if you've ever seen Wakfu, I'm a big fan of Wakfu, which is a French animated series.
Hmm.
They go fucking hard in that shit, and it's rated Y7. Uh,
Wow.
the
Okay.
French don't fucking
Yeah.
care. There's a bit in the third season of Wakfu where a pregnant woman gets shot in the belly with an arrow. It's
Jesus.
Y7.
Oh my
we,
God.
we don't fucking care. We don't
Oh my
fucking
God.
care. But like, give me more of that. Is where I prefer it to go.
Hmm.
Where I see it going, it's really hard to say because I don't know what Disney's trying to do. Honestly, I don't know what they're. I don't know if this is just a promotion piece to them,
Hmm.
or if like they've got a specific producer behind it who's really gung ho for animation and just like wants to spread the word.
Hmm.
It's I don't know what to expect from season 3. I just know that I would be more excited if we got like Journey to the Far Side of the Galaxy, and like that's a sequel to Journey to Darkhead, the
Hmm.
series.
Yeah.
I'd be more hyped to see that announced than Star Wars Vision season 3.
Right.
Just because Disney kind of has a bad habit of the longer something goes on, the less enthusiasm they have for it.
I I can see that. I think this could be the exception though with just the
Mhm.
nature of the anthology. Um I I would be like personally, I would be completely content with uh the same sort of format as volume 2 going forward and just
Mhm.
do kind of their own version of Love, Death and Robots where it's just worldwide animation studios, they get to tell their own stories within the Star Wars universe.
Just
And
have
that's what
season
Visions
3.
is going forward.
Mhm.
um, I would be completely fine with that. I still love the idea of doing different kind of themes going forward. Yes, it's hard to kind of place what those themes could be. I mean, like I said, I really like the director idea, and even going like deeper cut with it, like you said, could be a kind of compromise direction for it. Um, but I think I really think Visions has been one of the stronger Disney Star Wars properties, and it might be because like there isn't as much like bets being hedged on this
Mhm.
like series because like the big episodic like operatic like films that they want to put out, there's so much like money and pressure on those to be good, and expectations. So this is kind of like the antithesis where we still get fun new fresh Star Wars stuff, but there isn't nearly as much pressure from Disney that they put on themselves, and then as a result disappointment with
Mhm.
a lot of the things that have come out from Disney Star Wars. So I'm personally very happy to have this continue on. But as to where it'll go in the future, I'm not sure.
Just have season 3 be a looping clip of them throwing the guy in the pit. Just 10 episodes of that.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's probably where we'll wrap it up. We went on for quite a while.
Hmm.
Um, I think this was a home run on Disney's part.
Yeah.
They fully embraced what they started with Visions Volume One, and then carried that through to Volume Two. I'll be happy to see 10 more seasons of this as long as the quality keeps up. And then, like, kind of in the same vein as you said, Michael, I hope it also serves as a like proof of concept space for them to be like,
Hmm.
okay, we tried this story idea out. Then let's run with it. Let's make this into a full trilogy or like a full like 10 episode series on Disney Plus, right?
Hmm.
I think it's a fantastic way to kind of test the waters with ideas and then fully fledge them into these um, like ideas that spin off that kind of riff on what they originally did in those episodes, but still maintain the intrigue that they brought around.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think in terms of viewing, I think this is something to get Disney Plus for if you're a diehard Star Wars fan and if you're a diehard animation fan.
And a
Um,
fan of Die Hard.
and a fan of Die Hard. Yeah, unfortunately, Die Hard I don't think is on Disney Plus, so this will have to do for
Mhm.
now. Um,
Die
but
Hard is a lot like Star Wars Visions,
it is. It truly is. I'm
especially the
glad.
pit. The pit where he falls from the building.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. They both have falling. um, yeah, I strongly recommend it. It's some of the strongest Star Wars content to come out of Disney and Lucasfilm ever since they bought it. Um, So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Even and like the nature of the anthology format, you don't have to check out Volume One to appreciate Volume Two, which is really good.
Hmm.
And you don't even have to watch or you don't have to watch all of the series to like appreciate it. Like you literally can just pick out an episode or two here and there. I will personally shout out, I think, uh, Sith, the first episode.
Hmm.
That
I'd like to
one's
give a shout out to the Sith.
shout out one time to the Sith. Michael, do you want to shout out your like favorite one that
Um,
you'd strongly recommend?
probably Screecher's Reach. Like
Cool.
at this point,
The first two
to me,
episodes. There you go. The first two
like
episodes of the volume.
at this point in the review, you would be, um, you kind of know what's happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you're watching just for the animation, basically. But
yeah.
it's good animation.
It
It's
truly is.
definitely it's definitely in the fun and uncanny valley of like generic Western animation and almost Gendy Tartovsky-esque. Like
Hmm.
I know that there's probably a name for that style, but attribute it like it's this fun middle ground
Hmm.
um, that that I think is really worth it. But also, yeah, Screecher's Reach, not to go on for too long.
Cool. Yeah. But if you are going to watch it all, I would kind of recommend not to binge it because then you'll kind of start picking up on some of those
Hmm.
similar thematic elements and story beats, um, which might kind of dull in the experience for you. You've got your outliers like the Spy Dancer and the Pit for sure, which help kind of mix it up a little bit. But yeah, that's where we'll call it for this episode of the No Score Review Show. Michael, thank you so much for joining me once again. Where
Thank you for
can
having
the
me.
people find you if you have any
Uh,
plugs?
as per usual, do a video channel, go do a YouTube channel and a sometimes podcast with Nick and our friend Scott called Out of Focus, where we
Mhm.
do movies. Uh, that's it, really. We just do movies or TV
Mostly
shows.
movies, sometimes
Um,
TV.
and then also, I have a Patreon where I write short stories about superheroes called Save the Day.
Perfect. Definitely go check that out. I'll actually try and put the Patreon link in the description below
Much
for Save
appreciated.
the Day on this episode. Go check that out. You can find me wherever you're listening to or watching this episode of the No Score Review Show. I recently did a review on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, if you haven't checked that out already. If you want to go check out more Star Wars reviews from me, I did episode or reviews on Mando Season 3, Bad Batch Season 2, and what was the other one? I thought I had one more. Now I'm panicking. That might be it, actually. The only two Star Wars things.
Jedi Survivor. Jedi.
I will be doing one that hasn't come out yet, but it will be. Oh, Andor. Andor was the other one. Good lord, I'm preaching to go watch Andor this whole time, and then I completely forget I did a review on
But
it.
if they
Good lord.
watch your review, then they'll be spoiled for Andor.
Well, that's true. Yeah, watched like the first 10 minutes of the Andor review. Um, but yeah, if you want to go check out more Star Wars reviews, um, like Michael said, I will hopefully be doing a review on Star Wars Jedi Survivor in the coming weeks. It'll kind of depend on how fast I get through that game. I would like to try and get through the main story at least, but it's a big game, so I won't hold out hope for that. But I've also got reviews coming this month for more TV as well. Yellow Jacket season 2 just wrapped up, or no, it hasn't wrapped up yet. It will be wrapping up soon, and as well as Ted Lasso season 3. Both will be getting reviews hopefully on the channel later this month. So go check those out once they are out. And yeah, if you are into video game Let's Play content, you can also go watch me play Star Wars Jedi Survivor. There's the periodic episode of that coming out. The channel's mostly for indie games and like puzzle game type videos. So if you're into that, go check that out at NoScore Plays. Otherwise, you can find me on Letterboxd for more film reviews and all the socials at NoScore or at NoScore Reviews. Uh, and let us know what you thought of Star Wars Visions Volume 2 in the comments below, or you can tweet me at NoScore Reviews. Let us know what you thought, what your favorite episode was, what you want to see with it going forward. And yeah, just kind of generate more of that discussion online. Always love talking TV, movies, and video games. And yeah, thanks again, Michael, for joining me this episode, and we'll see you all on the next review. Bye bye.
Bye.